Okay, I'm gonna wait for a few people to come in here first. Good afternoon, one and all. Good afternoon, one and all. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in here. Today I want to prepare this jacket. I'm gonna wait for a few minutes for some people to come in here. Today, good afternoon, my friends. I'm not gonna be working too late today. I want to end by at least 7 o'clock. But I wanted to talk about how we prepare the work for the alteration part of it. So if you want to see what I do to prepare the jacket, this is a jacket that I have to shorten the sleeves. I've already put the marks and the vent ends. This is the length, and look how much of the vent has to come out. So I want to show you guys how I prepare this kind of work. Today, if you have a few minutes and you would like to learn, I want to jump in here and talk about this. Aisha is my normal moderator, guys. If she jumps in, Aisha, good afternoon. I'm not going to talk a lot about the course today. I want to talk about what we're focusing on today, and I'm just going to wait for a few more people to jump in here. Get my camera in the right spot because I want you guys to see everything. This is fuse. I'm going to be using some of this in the sleeves to add a little bit of texture to the sleeve when I put it in the new position. This jacket sleeves needs to be shortened to the sleeve when I put it in the new position. This jacket sleeves needs to be shortened to the sleeve when I put it in the new position. This jacket sleeves needs to be shortened. Hey guys, I want to prepare a jacket this afternoon with you guys. I'm going to wait for a lot of you to jump in here with me. This jacket, we are going to be tapering the sleeve. I want to show you how to put the marks on the inside of the jacket to taper the sleeves. Where does one get such wide fusible tape? I've only seen the thin one. This is probably 2 inches, and I'm using this to add some texture to the sleeve. Normally I use the softer one, but this is the only one that I have today. I was trying to see if I had in the drawer. Let me just double check. So this is what we're using. Okay guys, I'm ready to get started now. I'm going to show you guys the marks that need to transfer. Especially for the jacket. Okay, so what I did already, I transferred the marks. This mark, that's the dart under the chest. We refer to this first dart as this first line as the chest dart, and this is the side chest dart. And I want to create some shape on this jacket for her. I'm really trying to create some shape, and it's bulky under her bust, and she doesn't need to look like that. The jacket could look better. And I'm also going to taper the sleeve. So I transfer the marks on the outside. I'm going to show you how I prepare the sleeve, and then I'll put it on the machine later, and I'll show you guys how to put it back together. All right? So here we go. I want to get a spot in the jacket where I can get into the frame of the jacket. I'm going to take my hand with a chalk. I'm going to put it up on the inside of the sleeve, and I'm going to feel for the mark, and I'm going to transfer the mark to the inside. I'm pressing on the thing with the chalk with my hands on the inside, and I'm clearing the seam also, and I'm transferring the chalk marks. So the inside, when I flip it over, I'm going to flip it over in a second. I'm going to show you guys. It's going to have the mark. On this jacket, I'm taking in the sleeve about an inch. It's way too wide on Sienna's hand. So look, I transfer the mark. That's the marks on the inside. When I go to the machine to stitch it, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to run my stitch, and I'm going to follow those marks. Then we need to shorten the length of the sleeves. I'm going to take the lining and I'm going to push the lining out of the way. I'm going to flip the jacket inside out. I'm going to flip the jacket inside out. And on the sleeves of the inside of the jacket, there's normally this line. For me to get into the sleeve, I'm going to go take my seam ripper and I'm going to open that. I'm shortening a jacket sleeve. I'm tapering the sides of the jacket and I'm tapering the sleeves. That alterations could run you easily on a really nice jacket, $170. Some alteration companies will charge you probably $200 because they charge at least $60 for the tapering of the sleeve and at least $60 to add the chest darts. So this is the inside of the sleeve. This is the inside of the sleeves. Can you see? Perfect. So the problem with this jacket is I'm shortening so much, and I'm doing it on the bottom because the customer doesn't want to pay $140 to shorten the jacket sleeve from the shoulder. So I do the work from the bottom. I'm going to transfer the mark. There's the mark. I'm going to transfer the mark and I'm going to see, I'm going to have an idea where I need to add some of that tape so that I'll have the volume that I need when I flip the jacket over. Every jacket that I do, shorten the sleeve, I have to do the same basic layout. So that's the inside of the jacket sleeve. This is the placket. Let's give it a little iron. Take a ruler. But if you notice, this line, it has to run parallel to this line. So I'm going to go parallel to this line. But I'm also going to consider the fact that now I have no fabric for the placket. This is the placket of the jacket. This is the part of the jacket here that folds like this. And you have the inner jacket of this inner side of the jacket sleeve. This is the placket, so the buttons will be on the outside. It comes on the front side, the back side of the sleeve. It's smaller than the front side. So if you look closely right here, you would see buttonholes. Those are the fake buttonhole marks that I took out. So I'm going to transfer the mark that I put on the inside. Now I'm going to transfer that mark on the outside because I want to know, I want to be in control. I want to see what I'm doing. So I'm transferring the marks between the two. Transfer the marks. Now look. Ooh, excuse me. Now I'm going to put the tape. I have the fuse here. I'm going to add the fuse. If that's the line, I want to, of course, cover the line. And as I put the fuse, I know the steam is going to blow off my line. I'm going to add a pin. I love how you move your body. See the pins? Steam it. I'm transferring the marks. Those pins, those become the length of the sleeve because once I put the iron on it, it steams off the mark. And I gotta be careful to remember to do that. I'm blowing it to keep it to cool faster so the chalk mark doesn't steam off quickly. And then I transfer the chalk mark back again. I leave my pin and then I continue on to the opposite side. Now look, this I have to open up because we have to create a new vent, guys. We have to create a new vent. Most of the customers doesn't know all of the work that goes into doing the alterations, you know. They just go, it's easy. Why don't you just make the sleeves a little bit shorter, just like that, right there. Just make it a little bit shorter. And I'm like, yep, I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, all right. It's easy, Nigel. If the mark steams off, don't worry. Remember, we put the pins on the other side. So I want to show you guys a trick that I started to teach some years ago on how to fold the fabric different when you have to reduce and re-add a vent. Because now, to this part of the jacket, there is no fabric for the vent anymore. The vent was cut here. If it had fabric here, I would have just had extra fabric to make a vent. But there's no fabric there. So what do? I can take some of this fabric that I'm cutting off from the bottom and I can add it on here. That's what I can do. So I'm going to draw some lines. I'm going to redraw the length of the sleeve that we're going for, and I'm going to check it against the pins that I left in there. There is the pins. Check it against the pins. I pull the pins out because I don't want to mark up the jacket too much with this chalk. Transfer the lines again to the inside. Now we're done adding. The steam has cooled a little. And then we do the width of the, I'm leaving stitching allowance. I'm gonna cut. But before I cut, I want to show you something else that you can do. So there's two ways you can do it. I'm showing you one of each. Right, I'm showing you a particular one right now, but there's another way you can do this. I'm opening up because this is where the vent is going to come eventually. Let's see, sleeves are tough for you. Everything is easy. We can all do it. Bless you, bless you. Thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Just trying to read a little bit before I go on. Sir, where did you... Somebody said sir. Somebody called me sir. I like that. I'm a sir. Let's see. Some of your comments are being... Let's see. So where did you buy the tape? You could order it from Wawak Sewing Supply. Alteration intimidates you. Guys, I want to take away this. I want to take away this trauma, and I want to say that I could walk you through it. So this is the sleeve. We're still working on it. I decided. So I want to show you one other way that you can do this before I flip it over. I'm taking my time because it has 2 stitches on it. When you're removing threads from clothing, please guys, take your time. I want to add a piece of tape here. just to create a nice stiff feeling when I put and I want to put it on the back and the front, so I'm going to separate this in two pieces here. I want to add some texture to the inside. This is the back of the sleeve, by the way. I want to put on the both sides. Somebody asked me why I have cloth on the table, because I could cut on the cloth and I could press on the cloth. I have a vacuum board. I just don't have the room in here to put the vacuum board. So I told the tailor, from now, for now, we're going to do fine just the way we're doing with this. And when we get more room, we'll put the vacuum board back out. Okay, before I cut this out, I want to show you another way to do this, right? There's another way you can do this. This is the front of the jacket. You could go like this, and up the back of the line, you could flip it over like this, and you can create the vent for the outside. It's a very nice look. And what you do is you create a line here instead. And now this is going to be the part we're using for the vent. And then this is going to be the 2 inches extra fabric. This here, that's the 2 inches extra fabric. And now I'm going over all the way to the other side. And then on this side, I would add piece of fabric here from this piece. So I'll have extra fabric to show you to stitch out. So I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to cut here like this. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut across. Then on the inside here now, I'm going to take a piece of fabric. And what I'll do is, I'll find an angle. Trouble! Trouble! I'm going to sharpen the chalk a little. Alterations is easy. That's what somebody said to me, and I said, well, take the course. That was last year. She took the course. That was the first person that I tested the program on last year. And she was able to learn how to do the basic alterations, and she learned how to make a dress, a skirt. She left before we moved into the pants. So this piece of fabric is going to be stitched in here. How it's stitched in is stitched in this angle. And then in the corner, I'm going to turn it. And then I'll come back to the iron and I'll give it a flat press, because that becomes the under part. And this here creates the new vent. And I'll show you how to do that in a little while. I have to taper the sleeves. I'm going to taper the sleeves, and once I taper the sleeve, I'll be able to do this. So I'm going to do one side. Should I do one side? Yes, I'm going to do one side so I can end my live with you guys real quick. I've been doing these lives all week. Okay, I'm going to move the camera, so I'm going to pause this for a little bit. Alteration intimidates you. No, don't let it do that. Please don't. Is this Yes. Yes, let's follow here right now. Yes, that's her jacket. We're living life to maintain stability. Brotherhood, uncle. Hey, absolutely, absolutely. We're going to be teaching. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding the vent back because I'm removing so much of the fabric. I have to recreate the vent. And I've added back some texture because I wanted to have full body. I'm going to do one side of the sleeve, so I'm going to pause just for a minute. Hello, hello. How are you, Sally? How are you, Sally? Okay, I'm going to pause just for a second. Let me see. Okay, I moved because I want to do one sleeve and I want to press it out and show you guys. So I moved the camera. I ordered some new tripods. So when the new tripods come out, it'll be faster between. Okay, guys, look, that's the best view you're going to get right here. Isn't that view beautiful? Look. So now I want to show you how I make the vent back up. So remember, this is how it looked before. This is the original vent. This is the original vent. I'm going to try to put a vent back. I'm making a vent back up. And the reason why we're making the vent back up is because to do it from the shoulder would have cost a lot more. And we do it from the bottom for the client who doesn't want to pay to do it from the shoulder. And because we were tapering the sleeves already, it was easier just to do it from the bottom. Okay, so this piece of fabric has to go in back here. I start by taking matching this corner right here. I'm matching that stud right here. I've already threaded the machine. And I'm doing it like this because I want to hit the exact spot, right? So I use the needle to put a mark for me. So I just bumped the camera right there, didn't I? Now I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to turn it this way. I'm matching this line to that line. I'm making back up the vent. So the bottom part is attached. Now I need to notch it. I'm going to notch it. Look at me notching it. I'm going to notch it at an angle so that I could turn the fabric. And then I'm going to turn the fabric. I need to notch the bottom also. And I'm going to turn it. I'm making back up the vent because up there is no extra fabric. So there's the under vent. I just made it back up now. And for aesthetics, I want my seams to remain steady for me. So I like to put a top stitch on it. I put a top stitch on it every time I do it because I want the seams to stay in place. I I want the seam to remain under, so I put the stitch on this side, not on the jacket side. And we call this a bank stitch. That helps me to keep it placed. Now look at that. That's one side of the vent. That's the under part. It's on the smaller side of the jacket. So now the person is going to be able to have a functional vent when this is done. This is all I'm searching for, a functional vent. Someone is telling me how hard this is to do already, I'm sure. Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, guys. I'm showing you how to shorten a jacket sleeve, but I'm showing you how to do it when it's much shorter than the vent that's on there. Okay, so we're going to add the second part now. So this part comes here. This is the line. I want to transfer my marks because I want to carry a perfect line. This is the angle my jacket is going to be from the front. And when I transfer the line to the back, when it's done, so I like to put it like that. This is one of the most difficult jacket sleeves to do, by the way. This is not the simple one. I'm going to transfer my lines. Next to taking off the sleeves from the shoulders and doing it back from the shoulders, this is one of the most difficult ones because it has some components in it that I added through the years that makes it beautiful to show. So I'm going to take this now. I've kept my fabric from the extension that I cut out from the length. I'm going to take a needle, put it right there because I want to match my bottom. Guys, if you have a machine and you want to learn how to do alterations, I want to be able to show you free of charge how you could become a master alteration specialist in New York City or anywhere in the world if you're able to keep up with what I'm showing you here. I want to show you how to do it. If not, you can book an appointment online, you could bring the work. Me and my tailors, we could always do the alterations for you. That's easy. Putting the top stitch on it because I want to try to keep everything hidden to the back, and the bank stitch on the opposite side keeps it hidden. So look, that's the angle. I'm going to tuck it in now. I'm leaving all the fabric on the inside. I'm going to tuck it over like this. So this is the outer part. This is the vent. I've just recreated the vent. I want to try to clean it up. I'm going to go give it a quick press and come back. I'm not going to move the phone. I'm just going to go over there and press it and come back. And when I come back, I'm going to run the line. In fact, I'm going to run the line for the sleeves because we have to taper her sleeves just a little. I'm tapering her sleeves just a little. I'm adding the stitch. I remember earlier I put the marks. So now I'm transferring those marks. I'm following those marks all the way up to under the sleeve line. I had already opened up the sleeves on the outside. That's what I finish opening up because I want to go straight through the top of the sleeves. I'm not going to run it off. Some tailors like to run it off and you get a little bubble under the arm. You want to open up completely under the sleeves. This is under the sleeves like that. Can you see? This is the underarm on the sleeves. I'm going to continue stitching and I'm closing and I'm reducing under the arms on the jacket also because I want to get a nice chest dot on her jacket for her. I'm back tacking. I'm going to grab a seam ripper. And I'm going to open the seam. Do it carefully, please, because you don't want to cut the fabric. A lot of times I heard tailors go, oops, and I know it's, from the time I look around and I see the seam rip, I know they cut something. In this stage, if you cut it, it's not bad for now, but it's bad for the person who comes to the jacket in 20 years and wants to let out the sleeve. And remember, alterations for me is all about conserving. So I'm opening the seam. It's open, that I'm taking it under the arm that much. Now I'm gonna go to the table real quick, and I'm gonna open this seam under the arms. And I'm also going to set up one time the rest of the vent on the opposite side. Let me just, so look at my mark. Look how perfect my mark matches up, guys. Look at that. It's perfect. It's perfect. So now I'm just going to fold this back like that. I just created a small enough vent to maintain the natural look of the jacket. Okay, let's go press it on the table. I want you guys to see how this look. Trini loves the party. So we're gonna open the vent. Let's read some comments real quick. Hey guys. Hey guys, what sewing machine should I start with? If you can afford a Juki DDL 8700, hi Queen, if you could afford a Juki DDL 8700, please, I just hit you a follow. Follow me back and you can be able to put me like Juki DDL 8700. Please, I just hit you a follow. Follow me back and you can be able to put me like, and you can be able to put me like that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I got a call. Okay, so let me show you what I'm doing. I took the iron and I opened the seams, and I'm going to give this a little press right here because I'm trying to set up the line. This becomes the outside of the vent. This here, I'm going to turn it over, becomes the inside of the vent. I'm doing a one-hand turn here, guys. Sorry about that. Tilla wool and gray. I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to pull this out. Or I'm take a scissors. Let me take a scissors and push it out. Next week when my tripod comes, you guys are not going to complain about not being able to see. But I'm going to take this. I want to cut out some of the extra fabric in here. It's bulking too much. Push it out. And then I'm going to set it up to stitch it back. Push it out. And then I'm going to set it up to stitch it back. Push it out. And then I'm going to set it up to stitch it back. Tilla wool and gray. I want to show you guys how clean this is going to look on the right side, on the front side. I'm just setting it up. I'm putting the pins back. I'm going to give it a little press. And I'm going to cut out any extra fabric that I'm not going to be using. This vent has a little extra fabric here. I'm going to take that out. So now I've recreated the vent. Now I'm going to measure the lining. I'm measuring the lining from the inside. I'm going to pull on it like this. I'm going to settle it. Bring the sleeves. I want the lining to measure as long as the jacket is on the outside. So the jacket ends right here. That's the length of the jacket. I'm going to cut the lining right there. Be careful when you're cutting the lining to push the original fabric out of the way from the jacket. Cut the lining. And now I'm going to turn it over to the right side, to the front side, just to show you guys how cool this technique, how beautiful this technique looks. I'm going to give it a little press, and then I'm going to go put the top stitch back on it for you to show you. So the vent is coming perfectly as far as I'm concerned. There's the new vent. That's the under piece I'm going to put. And now I'm going to put it back down like this. And I'm going to put a stitch. And then I'm going to seal the inside. And I'm going to put the buttons back. Let me just change the press position just a little bit more for you, okay? I want to show you another position. I want to take a pin like this. And I want to put the pin right where it holds, right where it... because I want to keep it in the best position possible for me. So press, turn it sideways. You guys got to see this. Look at this. So there is a jacket sleeve. It has a vent. We recreated the vent. Even though the jacket is shorter, the sleeve is shorter, the sleeve is tapered, and we're going to put the buttons back. So I'm going to go close this up now and show you how I close this up. So we have a vent back on the jacket. So the jacket doesn't suffer loss. We put the original vent back on it. Let's see. Okay, wait, I'm going to turn the camera here so you can see it again. If I could teach you how to do this by simply being able to observe. So look, that's the lining. I'm going to take out all the extra threads and stuff. I want to stitch it from the inside, so I'm going to turn it inside out again. Put my hands inside like this. And I'm going to flip it over. This is the inside. I have to tack this seam. This is the inner arm. So I want to tack this seam. I tack this seam when I pull it down. Can you see, guys, how I took it in? So the sleeve is not as wide anymore on the arms. I'm going to tack it. Oops, the needle just unthreaded. That's what the automatic machine doesn't do at all. The needle never unthreads, because the needle always stops down inside. No thread to the bottom. Spool. Tack. That's the inner arms. Flipped it inside out. Now, the vent. I gotta line up the vent and close this up a little bit. I want to match my lines from under my... I got to line up the vent and close this up a little bit. I want to match my lines from under my... I got to line up the vent and close this up a little bit. I want to match my lines from under my... It was puckering, it was showing on the right side a little bit more. So I made the under, I reduced the length a little bit because look, it was showing. When I clicked it like this, I don't want to see the under showing. I want it to be average. I want it to be exactly. So I want it to be under. So I took it out a little bit. And now I'm going to put the top stitch back here. I'm slacking, guys. Second time the needle unthreaded. Now I'm going to take my pin, I'm going to put my faithful pin back to hold it in place. Just download your favorite tunes and take on. Very good, very good, and very good. Now the lining, I should take in a little bit of the lining also, because I want to reduce the width of the lining also on the bottom part. You could use the same gray thread, you know, it's on the inside, it's alterations. If it's like a very expensive jacket, sometimes I would take my time to change it. But in this case, it's on the inside and nobody would know the difference. Nobody have to know. Nobody have to know. Nobody have to know. Now I'm going to stitch. Now I'm closing the lining up. I'm adding the lining back on the inside. And I join one side and now I'm going to flip it over so I can reach the other side. I prefer to do it like this in pieces versus trying to stitch all the way around. It's just too cumbersome from this angle. This is an advanced class, by the way, guys. I just wanted to show you guys how fast it's done, how good I do it. And by the way, just remember, all this time, all I've worked is on one sleeve. So I'm not going that fast. I worked on one sleeve, for crying out loud, Nigel. One sleeve. One sleeve. It's ridiculous, right, guys? One sleeve. So this is the inside now. We added a new vent. If I take my pin out, there's my vent. And I'll put my buttons back now, I'll show you. I'm going to close the vent out on the inside. You could, normally I would wait until I'm done and I'll come back. In fact, I'll come back to this one with some black thread and close it. But for now, I'm going to just add the buttons back just to show you guys how it would look when it's done. That's the jacket sleeve right here. That's the sleeve. I'm going to give it a quick press. Hello. Well, we have to know if we're fun. Nobody have to know, baby. I want to show you guys how pretty this looks. Look. That's the vent. That's a new vent that we made. And the reason why we had to make the new vent is because, try to remember, let me hear why. Let me hear if anybody want to tell me why. Why did we have to make a new vent? We had to make a new vent because the amount of fabric we took out, it cut out of the old vent. This technique, I've taught this technique to so many tailors. I have taught this technique of shortening the jacket sleeve and putting the vent back to so many tailors in my life. Sat down and then I would do one side and then I would let them do the other side in front of me and then I would walk them through it. I would walk them through it. I would walk them through it. Through it. Okay, so now I'm going to sew the buttons back on. The buttons were sewn on with dark thread, so I'm going to get dark thread. Dark thread. And normally I'd use a nylon, but on this jacket all the thread is cotton, and I don't want to use the nylon thread, so I'm going to use the same stitching thread that I use. I tell you I'll have needle. I put 4 strands in there. When I'm done tying it, I release it to allow the waggle to come out. Here, I'm going to put my hands on the inside like this. And I'm going to put the first button, the first needle mark, I'm going to feel all the way through. I come all the way through to the inside and I want that one to anchor really strong. I go through and through. It's not through the lining, it's just through the first part. First buttonhole. First button is about to get sewn on right here. I want to go side by side. So I'm going to go cross. I'm not going side by side. I'm going cross because the front button on this jacket, I checked it. it's crossed. So I go like this. Can you see? I go this way and this way. So the first one went that way. Pull it. And then the second one, I'm going to slip it right under. I'm going to go all the way through, but I'm not going to catch the lining. I want to be careful not to catch the lining. I sew on all the buttons on the top side. When I first start showing this to non-alteration tailors, because if you're a tailor who makes stuff from scratch, you know that these buttons are not attached like this. The positioning to attach these buttons normally occur before the lining closes. But in the Art of Alteration series, I teach people how to do alterations using several different methods. Like I said, this method, I'm going to tie this button off. This method, it's when you shorten the jacket past the vent, and you have to put a new vent in. This is an advanced class for people who actually been sewing for a while. You already done the shorten the jacket sleeve. All of the work that goes into doing these work, the client here will never know. How that looks? Good? Crossing it over. With 4 strands of thread, I tie it twice, and then I knot it off, and it's perfectly fine for me. Last one. And I'm doing it from the outside, but I'm sliding the lining on the inside so that if it gets caught, I would make sure and get it so that the needle doesn't come through the lining on the inside. So the lining never gets caught. This is the last button. Remember when we first started, I put a piece of fusible interfacing along the line. If I didn't, look, I poke my finger. This is the, gross. That's the downside of getting tailoring services. You always get poke. But I tell you this though, after a while, the reaction to the needle sinking into your skin, it changes. You become a little bit resilient to the pain of getting stuck with the needle. How does that look? There we go. I'm going to put the last one. I'm going to tie it off. I'm going to give it a good tug. Sometimes it would break, but this is not breaking and I don't want to damage the fabric. Cut it. So these buttons are what you call kissing. It's not overlap. I put these kissing each other. But guys, look, we created a new vent. We shortened the jacket. And remember, I still have to go do the other side, but all of the work on the sleeves is actually done. There is the sleeves. We tapered it. That's how you do it. Now it goes get a little press, get a little cleanup, and then I move on to the other one. Guys, let me tell you something. If you want to learn how to do the art of alterations, it's easy. Let's read some questions before. You said, what's the difference in the thread? Well, the button are black and the light thread was a little bit too light, so I wanted to change that out, so I put that back. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That does look nice. Guys, let me tell you something, right? This is an advanced alteration I just showed you guys right here. And the technique to add the fabric to the bottom. Oh, and by the way, if I wanted to make this functional also, I would have gone and made a big event and take it to the outside to Jonathan Embroidery and add functional buttonholes. And when I add functional buttonholes, these buttons would have been functional. Like I'm doing some jackets. I have a jacket that I have to do. I have to add functional buttonholes to it. This is for next week. So today, I'm glad that I got an opportunity to work with all of you guys, coordinating with all of the different people who are going to be involved in this process of teaching you guys alterations. But I like coming on here and showing you guys how I actually do the work. Someone asked, if you have a garment that needs altering, schedule a Zoom appointment and send it in the mail. That's right. You can reach us on just get into the bio and send me a message there. If you want a private lesson about something, I can teach you how to do this privately. We'll get someone to walk with the camera for you guys. Alterations, we did it like this. I had to add the vent because, let me show you the original. This is the original side. And if you look at the original, where I'm shortening, it goes past where the original vent is. And the original vent cuts out on the inside. Let me turn it over so I'll show you from the inside. Let me turn it over. When you flip it on the inside, the vent is cut out. It cuts out here. And that's right where I have to shorten it. So I have to build a vent back in order to get it done right. Alterations Made Easy is the platform that you guys are going to learn how to do alterations. If you have a jeans that the waist doesn't fit you well and you want us to tailor it, I showed several ways how to have that jeans fit. You can pack that jeans up and you can send it to 15 Canal Place in the Bronx with a self-addressed envelope, or we can call you and we can get the money to pay for the self-address. But you could, when you buy the tape to send it to you, you could pay for a return and you can put it inside of the envelope. That way I can give you the alterations at a cheaper price and I can do the work for you and send it back for you, so you don't have to worry about giving it to a tailor in your local community who's going to screw the work up, which I hear happens for some reason in the alteration world a lot. And they come and they complain and they say, Nigel, this tailor screwed my jacket up. And it's normally because of lack of understanding, the time that it takes to actually do this. So what's the demand for alteration? That's a good question. I want to tell you this, right? I'm going to pin this comment right now. What's the demand for alterations? So, as an alteration tailor in New York, I am in contact with some of the bigger alteration shops. And as an alteration tailor, I can tell you, you could, if you're doing a good job, you could probably make $50,000 to $70,000 a year in alterations. So it's not about the demand, it's about having the skill. So if you are a skilled alteration provider and you can go to work for an alteration company, you can get an alteration company to pay you $33 to $44 an hour just doing alterations. If you're a really good tailor who can reduce shoulder sleeves and stuff, you can get up to $70 an hour. Tom Ford have tailors that work for between $80 and $150 an hour. These tailors are working on jackets that cost, $5,000, the cheapest. So when they sit down on a jacket that costs $5,000 and the company pays them, $250 for a day work, it's fine, because they're going to work on 2, maybe 3 of those jackets that the company will sell for, $15,000. I want to tell you, to do the task that I just did here, normally it's an $85 charge, but this customer is a good friend of my business. She supports us a lot. She talks about a lot. Sienna talks about our brand on her Instagram. She talks about it on our radio. When she meets people, she introduces them because we do her clothing for her. So we charge a little bit cheaper for this. But this process is normally an $80 charge. So if you could spend an hour and a half making $80 doing alterations because you learn how to do it, you understand the viability of the alteration world. To hem a pants will take a tailor who is very good in doing it, probably 10 minutes, and you make $20 for that 10 minutes worth of work. If you have 5 pairs of pants and you hemming, that's $100 in an hour. And when you take out your taxes, you still made $90. Because in New York, small businesses are under the same dollars. Because in New York, small businesses are under the same dollars. Because in New York, small businesses are under the same difficult, or how can you train for alterations? Alterations normally takes someone who has sewing skills. So I always recommend, if you're someone, hi, good afternoon, Mighty Sew. If you're someone who has sewing skills and you could operate a sewing machine, I want to teach you the art of alterations. I want to add alterations to your repertoire, because if you could make clothing, then you can learn to do alterations because you already understand the basic concepts of sewing. I want to tell you, lastly, before I go real quick, what are we going to be covering for the new year? Come January 3rd, I'm going to be launching a sign-up form, probably on the 1st, that all of the people who are interested in taking our Alteration Made Easy program, I want to know who are these people who are logging on so I can expand my customer list. I want to be able to teach you guys how to taper a trousers, how to hem a trousers, how to reduce the waist of the trousers from down the center seam. And I also want to teach you guys how to reduce the trousers from the side seam. Those are the alterations on the pants that you're going to learn in January. What you're also going to begin to learn in January is how to draft a basic trousers quarter scale. Why I want to put those two things together is because I believe it helps you to understand. It gives you a better understanding of what the inside of the pants actually looks like. So you're going to be learning how to draft a trousers. You're going to be learning how to do it quarter scale. I'm going to have the camera right here. I'm going to give you a list in your syllabus sheet of all of the things that you actually need to have. And you're going to get a sketch pad, a very standard sketch pad notebook. And you are going to learn how to draft the pants alongside you learning how to do the alterations. Your understanding is going to be enlightened. I guarantee it's one of the easiest way to get you to understand how to do alterations, because now you're going to understand where the side seam of the pants is. You're going to understand what the leg seam of the pants is. You're going to understand what's the crotch depth of the trousers. You're going to understand what is the waist circumference, what is the hip. You're going to understand what is the leg circumference. And once you understand those things, then your ability to comprehend, okay, what is the area that you're specifically working in for the alterations, it helps you to target it. And I'm starting in trousers because those four alterations can range a customer easy $70, $80. To do the hem, it's an average of between $16 and $22. I've seen them in Manhattan. We charge $18 at this location. When I was downtown, I charged $20. To taper a pair of trousers will charge you $65 to $70 depending on what type of work needs to be done. We charge $55 at this location because we're in the Bronx and we could give our prices cheaper to our clients. Our rent is a little bit less, so we want to pass that back on. Next week in New York City, I'm going to open my calendar up from 11 until 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. And if you're a New Yorker, we have a 3 weeks turnaround, that's standard. But if you want it rush, anything under 2 weeks, we consider a rush. You're going to pay an additional rush fee, but we charge you the same low cost to do the alteration. So next week, if I get a lot of people booking online at taylorsatelier.com for alteration services, here in the tri-state in New York and Manhattan area. I had a customer that came from the East Village today. She said, Nigel, it was so easy to get over here. In fact, it was easier from her, she said, to come from the West Village to here because she got on the number 5 train and she took it express to 138th Street and 3rd Avenue and she walked to the alteration shop. She got somebody at the front door and she walked up to the 4th floor and I opened the door for her to come in. When she came in, there were some other people here waiting. I have a waiting area. I want to show you my fitting room. You're going to walk right into this beautiful fitting room right here. But when you come, I have a waiting room for you that you could wait. When you come, you can grab a seat in the waiting area. There's a beautiful waiting area here for you. You come, you sit, you could lounge while you're waiting, and then when you're done, I bring you over here into the beautiful fitting room area. It's a nice sized room. A bride can have her dress fitted right here. If you're a guy and you have a jacket that doesn't fit you well and you need alterations, you could bring it in and we can take care of that for you, make you feel good in your clothing. At the end of the day, Taylor's Atelier is about one thing and one thing only. We are in the business of making people feel good in your clothing. And once you can feel good in your clothing, that's all I'm interested in. I'm interested that when you come in the mirror and you stand up and you look at yourself like this and you go, damn, Nigel, that looks good. I love the way you taper that shirt. I love the way you taper that pants. I love the way you shorten the sleeve. I'm about making people look good in their clothing. Right now, I'm in this casual stage of my life. I remember wearing suits every day. And when we get busy again in the winter time, I like to be comfortable. When it's cold and snowing outside, like it's snowing outside today, I love to do it. I'm here for you. Where'd he go?
I got you something.
Oh, I got something.
I was trying to. Wait, you were so.
Oh my goodness! Now I gotta get you a gift.
No, you got it already.
Now I gotta get you a gift.
No, you already did it.
Oh my goodness! You guys are phenomenal. Thank you very much. Happy holiday to you guys. Bye, little man. Happy holidays. My neighbors bring me Christmas gifts. You know, it's a small community here, and one of the things that I've always wanted to do was to create a syllabus to teach alterations. June 15, 2022, I closed my boutique that I had in the East Village, and I took a couple of months off and just literally sat down with pen and paper and got the grind going. In the syllabus, you're going to get some information that you're going to read yourself through, and then you're going to take that information, you're going to put it into learning the art of alterations. So come January 3rd, expect to be able to get a sign-up sheet that you could put your information on Constant Contact. That's already done. We launch it January 1st. And then January 3rd, by January 3rd, you should already get a syllabus. Once you sign up, you're going to get a syllabus. In the syllabus, there is fitting. Because you can't do the alterations on your husband's jeans. You can't do the alterations on your friend's jeans if you don't know how to fit it. But I've already been jumping ahead of that, guys. If you go to the videos that I posted yesterday and I posted the day before. Oh, by the way, and thanks for tapping the screen, guys. When you guys tap the screen, you increase my likability. So come on, tap the screen with me all the way up until all those little heart goes brrr all over the place. Tap the screen with me. Tap the screen with me. Tap the screen with me. The Zoom is running alongside the live video. So you're going to be learning how to do the alterations prior Zoom via the live videos on TikTok, because my intention was to give this away for free. But the people who are working in the back, they need to get paid. The people who are holding the camera, the people who are doing the editing in the back for the classes. Now, if you miss the live feed, you're going to have a chance to pay for an upload of the video after. So we're hoping that you catch the live feed and that you're learning. But if you want to get a recap, you will be able to go download that video. It's a few dollars, guys. You guys will help to grow Taylor's Atelier worldwide. So this starts January 3rd. Right now, we're providing alteration services here in New York City. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur, Carly. If you have clothing in your wardrobe right now that doesn't fit you, you can book online at taylorsatelier.com and you could come and you could see me. We're at 15 Canal Place in the Bronx. A lot of my East Village clients are finding it very easy to jump on the number 6 or the number 5 train express to 138th Street. If you're in Lower Manhattan and you're on the west side, you could jump on the 4 to 5. If you're on the east side, you could jump on the 4 to 5. And you could come uptown. If you're in the Bronx, you can take the 6. You could take the 4 to 5 downtown. We're at a central point right now. If you're coming from New Jersey, you could take I-95 to GW Bridge. You could just jump over the bridge. In the afternoon, between 3 and 7, there is great parking on the street. When you come before that, you may have to drive around. We are on a 4th floor walk up, so be prepared to walk up 4 flights of stairs. But if you want alteration services and you are in Manhattan or in the 5 boroughs, please, guys, book online at taylorsatelier.com. 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 So, thank you for joining me for such a beautiful afternoon. Thanks for liking 8,600K, 34 of you on board. And I have a few people, let me acknowledge. Jasmine, good afternoon, Jasmine. Let me acknowledge Carly, good afternoon, Carly. I want to say, guys, I'm really very happy to be able to offer this free service of, hi, Mimi. I want to be able to offer this free service. Thank you very much, Candy, for your hearts. Thank you, guys, for your support. When I'm on, guys, I appreciate any diamonds, any free gifts, because I'm giving you guys this alteration service for free. Did you see I taught you how to shorten a sleeve and taper a jacket sleeve in less than an hour just now? When I'm done on this live, I have to go finish the other sleeve and do the chest dart on the jacket. This jacket is for a really close friend of mine. She came into my life with such beautiful storm, and she understood me because her girlfriend is Trinidadian, so she understands my dialect very easily. I don't think anyone have a problem understanding me when I speak. I remember when I first came to this country and I would have a heavy Caribbean Trinidadian dialect. Many times people would ask me, excuse me, what did you say? Can you please repeat yourself? And I got tired of doing that. So in order to satisfy the American dialect and understanding as it relates to language, I've decided to speak this way instead. It's much easier and more people could understand me. But if I want to really talk like a Trinidadian, I could. I love my Trinidadian people. I love my Trinidadian food. I love my Trinidadian accent. If you're in Queens, you got to go to Ali's Roti Shop. They're on La First Boulevard in Queens. Make sure and get a curry chicken, curry roti with curry chana, a doubles and aloo pie. And if you're from Puerto Rico and you're living in New York City and you're feeling like for Caribbean food, check out Ali's Roti Shop. They're on La First Boulevard out in Queens. I drive all the way to Queens to get me some good old Caribbean food. I had a customer last year. She had a wedding dress in Puerto Rico. She flew me to Puerto Rico. This was after the hurricane. She flew me to Puerto Rico. I fitted her in Puerto Rico. I put the pins on the dress. I flew the dress back to New York because I was only there for 4 days. I flew the dress back to New York. I did the alterations on the dress, and I put the dress in a case, and I flew the dress back to her for a 2-day visit in Puerto Rico. The dress alterations cost, and the flight, everything came up to $3,500. Her wedding dress was a Marquesa gown that cost her $6,500. So now it was a $10,000 alterations. So if you do alterations in Puerto Rico and I can qualify you, I would recommend people to you, and I could create a brand service of mine in Puerto Rico in your alteration shop. Any information that you need, Carly, that will help to enhance your alteration skills, ability, you hit me privately. And because you do alterations, I'm going to add you to the list of people that I'm going to have as moderators. And if you're someone who's at work during the day and you want to come when I go live, I'm practically going live so that I can get used to this communicating, because God alone knows talking for 2 or 3 hours is not my fancy. I would see you for 20 minutes and I'm back to my machine. I'm the guy on the sewing machine. I lived the opposite situation when I was living in the Caribbean. I appreciate that. Absolutely love your vibes and your teaching. Thank you very much. When I come to Puerto Rico, I'm going to come and put my stamp of approval on your alteration shop. I have a friend of mine. He opened a tailor shop in Santo Domingo. And I was supposed to go for the holidays for the Christmas, but with this launch of this tailor shop, I was unable to do it. I want to be able to. I want to be able to add to your alteration services wherever you are, guys. I want to be able to come alongside you, and if you have questions about service, I don't want you to. I don't want you to go and worry about anything. I want you to partner with one of the best alteration providers in New York City. If you think that I'm kidding about the alteration service that I've provided in the past, go to Yelp. Go to Taylor's Atelier Yelp, and you will see we have a 4.5 5-star rating for such a long time. We hovered until 2022 at 5 stars. So if you've been sewing for 40 years, I love you already. I want to tell you that I want to add to your skill level by teaching you basic alterations. I want to teach you basic alteration. If you stick around with me next year, by the end of 2023, you would have learned basic alterations, and coming up to the end of the year, like by December next year, you would know how to shorten that jacket sleeve, what I just did. Let me show you guys. I just finished showing all of you how to shorten a jacket sleeve and how to remove the vent, because this jacket, this is the original side, it has to be shortened all the way up to here. How do you add this fabric back for the vent? I just did it. Aisha was on with me and she saw me do the whole process. I want to teach you guys. Look, that's the fabric that I added into the inside. I folded this over and I created a vent. And if I wanted to put a functional vent with buttonholes, I could have done that also. Here's the fabric that I cut out. I got to go finish this jacket. So I'm not only showing you my ability to teach you, I want to break it down into little slim, small crevices so that when you learn how to do alterations from me, you would walk away and Auntie K, you would walk away with the art of alteration. I'm going to come and follow you right now. Auntie K, let's see. I followed you as a friend. I invited you to jump on a conversation with me before I go. Encourage me to stick. Maybe I'll show you how to do it also. Okay, I'm going to go prep the sleeve. Well, hello. Someone joined me. Good afternoon, Auntie K.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to interact with you today. I am in New York City. Where are you?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. So you said you've been sewing for a long time, but you've been avoiding alterations.
Yes, indeed. Oh, like the plague. I tell them I'd rather make you the garment than to alter it.
You know, the alterations can be very technical because you are reversing and then you
Yeah.
go back the opposite direction.
And a lot of people here in Mississippi don't understand all the work that you are actually doing. You basically taking down a garment and making it again.
Thank you.
They don't understand why I say what I'm gonna charge them if I do it.
So how much you charge to hem a pants, a basic pair of trousers out in Mississippi?
Because I hate it, I charge them $20. But I know a lot of people in this area are charged $10. But I be trying to make them not use me. So I tell them $20.
That's a good tactic. But whenever I try it, the customer always go, "Okay, sure,
Okay, that's what
sure,
they say.
sure." And I'm like, oh my goodness. So now I gotta buckle down.
And do it anyway. Oh goodness.
I've often done that. I've often done that with sequence dresses. So I'm a technical designer, but I'm gonna be very honest. I do dresses. I am a dressmaker.
Mhm.
So if you have a design for a dress and you want to create a pattern for it, I'll teach you how to measure it. I'll teach you how to draft it. I'll teach you how to create it on the pattern, and then I'll teach you how to cut it on the fabric, and then I'll teach you how to sew it. So
Yeah.
that's what I've done a lot of, you know. That's what I've spent my early years doing. And then back in 1994, I started doing alterations because I was working at Skins Fashion out in Long Island City, out in Queens, and I became overwhelmed with the consumption of fashion. Everyone was only creating in the 90s and in the 2000s, and they had these huge dumps with clothing. You would go to these warehouse full of
Yeah.
clothing,
Mm,
and then they would dump these clothing into the dumps. And I thought, I want to be a part of the repair community. I
yeah.
want to be a part of the repair community. I want to be the people who gets to conserve clothing and gets to tell people, you know what, if you want to hold on to this jacket a little bit longer, I'm going to make it fit good on you
Yeah.
just that you can hold on to this. And that has been the cornerstone of me teaching alterations. So if you're somebody who likes alterations and you want to be able to look good in your clothing, I want to be able to come alongside you and teach you how to do it
That
how to
sounds
do how to do it.
wonderful.
So if you got questions, I'm here for you.
I started sewing out of necessity since my mom taught me around. I started watching her when I was about 9 years old because we grew up dirt poor and we didn't have much. So what we had, the clothes we had to make it work, fix it, and then I was always been a heavy child, so that was another thing that was a hindrance. Mom couldn't afford to buy
Wow.
me clothes and buy the other five children clothes also, so I learned how to
Wow.
sew so I could be
Well,
fashionable.
that was a beneficial thing. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, as a profession, I'm a director of nurses, and I love sewing. And my husband said I'm more of a hoarder than a sewer. Anyway, I hoard.
I know the feeling.
That's the creativity part of me. I told him so. I have one son and one granddaughter and two bonus granddaughters. So I'm really blessed.
Are any
And
of them willing to do the sewing with you? Are any of them interested in sewing?
well, my granddaughter, I'm hoping she would learn. She's only 3 years old now. So I'm hoping to learn her. My son don't want anything to do with it. He don't even want to come and help me set up the sewing machine if I have to set up a new one. He don't want to come near it because he's
Wow.
been around it all his life. He just that's not for me, Mom. I try to
You
teach,
know, I
but
love sewing and I love anyone who likes to sew. I love anyone who likes to create. So if you would join us in January, would you be interested in learning how to taper a pair of trousers, how to
definitely,
do the waist and seat on the trousers, and how to do the hem? I'm teaching you by hands, by the way, because
yes,
most of you don't have a machine.
yes.
Okay?
Well, that's not my problem. I have 10
How
industrial
many?
10.
I love it. I love it. I love
All
it.
kinds, all kinds.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So
And
you're gonna
scissors also, but hand. That's how I learned how to sew on by hand
so
because I didn't have a sewing machine when I was growing up until I got older. Then my mom was able to buy me one, but I sewed on my hand,
so
made
are
my
you manufacturing or are you just making for clients?
just making. Mostly I just do for family. I sew for some people, close friends or something, but I don't do it as a profession. But
Wow, guys, we have people who could sew, who would take the idea of sewing and create small businesses with it. And I'm one of those people who like to facilitate people like that. So if you're ever in the market of opening your own alteration shop and you need some more direction, feel free to tap this resource. 2023 is my year. I'm giving away a lot of free information.
wow,
I'm
that
literally giving it away. I'm going to tell you what you need, what you don't need, what to do, who you can get supplies from, what are some of the tips to train for fitting, how
yeah.
to look at garments when you're standing looking at the clients. I'm going to have a day when I'm going to be doing
That don't know
fittings on the
how to
pants
use
where you
that.
could follow me. I'm just trying to to be honest with you, I'm looking for 100 apprentices by the end of 2023.
Well, I'm telling you, in this area, it is needed so. bad. We had a cleaners that they used to do alteration in the cleaners. That's it closed down. It's nowhere in this area that you can actually get somebody to alter. That's why I started, you know, accepting more because of that fact. It's just nobody here to do it.
Okay, so from Puerto Rico to New Mexico to France, somebody's signing up from France to do the course come January. Just get ready. Put me on your alert, set it so that when I go live, and when I go live, you'll be able to see when I'm going live. And remember, January 3rd,
Okay.
the what you call it again, the syllabus will be available. You
Okay.
could download it. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Someone is asking where I'm from. Like if you couldn't hear the accent, that's what I want to say, right? Have you
Where
ever traveled to the
where is the
Caribbean?
alert? How do you set the alert now? I'm 59 years
I
old.
think I think alerts can be set in I think to the top of the screen. When we get off, you have to go to the Taylor's Atelier
Okay.
icon, and then you have to tap to set when I'm on to set notifications.
Okay.
And you're gonna go into notifications, and then once you tap on notifications, let me see if I can find it for you. Hold on.
Okay.
I think it's where the dots are. If you
Okay.
scroll inside of there, it will say notification, live notification, and there you could put a notification for me when you see me. You look for the bell,
Yeah.
and you
And
click
will
on the bell.
it be in the evening time when you go live?
On mostly it will be on afternoons because I'm doing probably to tell you the truth, it will start at probably around 5 until 7.
Oh, that's wonderful. I get off at 4. So
Because
that's
most people have, I did a survey online about what's a good time, and most people want to see it in the afternoon, and
yeah.
I want it to be people who log on and follow the live
Yeah.
rather than have to come back and pay for it. But if you want to come back and pay for it, it's going to cost a few dollars to download the video from the live.
Okay.
So that way you get firsthand, and if you missed anything, you can go back and you could just pay a few dollars to get the video. It will help to support the business.
All right. It
Okay?
sounds
It was
wonderful.
nice
And,
chatting with you.
all right.
What do you have any questions? Can I help you with
No,
any of your ideas?
I was just saying it's love. I love being around people that love someone. I don't have anybody in my area.
Well, welcome to our world. Welcome to our world. Feel free to join the community. The more you chat with us, the more I'll add you into more responsibilities. I like to give people extra work.
Okay. Sound good.
But like I said, and if you have any people in New York who needs alteration service, feel free to recommend Taylor's Atelier to all of your friends.
Most
Um,
yeah.
Carly is going to be signing up for our classes. Carly, it's free of charge. Please, guys, recommend the live. Recommend Taylor's Atelier to all of your friends and to your buddies. Tell them that you found a great source out in New York, and you're on the same page with him, and you want to learn, and he's willing to teach you how to do alterations. Let me give you a quick rundown. I'm going to try to remember real quick. We're doing pants. On the pants, you're going to do full taper. We're going to do waist, seat, and crotch. I'm going to teach you how to do the crotch, how to reduce the width of the crotch, how to remove extra fabric from in the buttocks area of the pants. I did a video yesterday on how to fit that. Please go and check the video out.
Oh, I
These
was on. I seen it.
I want you to look at it, and I want you to every time you see somebody pants on their body looks loose from now on, I want you to
Okay.
critique it. I want you to look, this is how, okay, we're going to pull the waist in like that. Okay, if I taper the legs, this is how it's going to look like that. I want you to become familiar with the terminology so that
Okay.
when you meet with your client, you're going to say things like, you're going to taper it. You're going to refer to their size as a prominent seat versus a big butt. You're going to
Uh,
learn these terminologies because it will help you to communicate effectively to your clients what you're trying to get them to do.
okay.
All right, I'm excited. You
I'm
excited?
I'm excited.
Thank you very much for joining me for a little while. I'm very grateful for you. I don't know how to end it. Oh, yes, I know how to do it.
See you.
Auntie, it was nice chatting with you. Feel free to like my videos, share my videos when you come on. And I'm
All
going to go chat with somebody else right now whilst I do this jacket. And
right.
then so stay on if you would like, and maybe you'll get me to maybe I'll finish the other sleeve on camera just so you can see what I'm doing. What I'm doing
Okay.
on this one, I gotta tell you right now, this jacket, I'm shortening it probably 4 or 5 inches, And when you do that on the jacket, what happens? The vent, it's sort of a cutout. So what I do is I add a new vent in without reducing the width of the sleeve. So that's what I'm about to do on this jacket. So if you missed
Okay.
it on the first part of this live, I'm about to do the other part right now. So I'm going to move my camera right now and I'll
All right.
get back to doing the live. It was such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it.
All right.
Happy holiday to you and your family.
You too.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
I love meeting people. 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 You could hear the fondness in her voice, you know. Her husband said she's a hoarder. I understand. I got a ton of stuff all over the house. I had all of this equipment in my house at one time, and everyone was complaining about it. Hi, Queen. How are you this afternoon? How are you this afternoon? How are you this afternoon? If you're somebody who wants to learn to sew, do me a favor. Go follow my friends. I want to bring up all of my friends who follow me on TikTok. I'm just reading some of the comments. I want to be able to follow all of my friends. January 3rd, we're starting the Alteration Made Easy course outline is going to be available January 1st. I'm going to put it up. And the sign up sheet for the people who are going to be looking at the Zoom classes, that's going to be available also. Um, if you want to do the Zoom classes, if you want to learn to do the drafting of the pants, you have to sign up for the Zoom classes because that's where it's going to be shown. I'm doing two different programs, guys. I'm running it simultaneously. One you have to pay a few dollars for, and the other one you get totally free. I want to give it away for free, 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 free. Okay, so let me start this one real quick for you now. On this, I'm shortening the sleeves. Firstly, I want to add a couple of pins because when I start a press, I'm going to lose the mark. So I don't want to lose the mark, so I put a couple of pins where the mark is. There we go. And then I'm going to take my fuse, my trusted fuse. I put the pins because it's easy to pull the pins out and maintain the mark position. I'm putting it on the inside. I just changed it from the outside because it's kind of in the way. Then I'm going to take the fuse and I'm going to add the fuse right through the length because I want to add body. The pin to the bottom is giving it a little bumpy bump, but I'm going to take that out in a second and give it a little press. Because you want that to be perfect. When you glue that on there, you want it to be perfect. Okay? Let's put the mark back because we don't want to lose the mark. If we lose the mark, we up. If we lose that mark position, we need to do it over. So I'm going to measure 3 inches. I think that's what I said earlier, 3 inches. And now I'm going to put the tape on the other side. I'm going to use the board because I need to bring it up just a little. I'm going to apply it. I'm applying it right now. I'll bring it back down and show you in a minute. I got to pay the people who are holding the camera for me in the future. And because I have to pay them, we have to charge for some of the services. Normally, January and February, it's very slow in the alteration business. And when it gets really slow, I normally get more time to teach. But because the syllabus is ready and the time frame on afternoons is just 2 hours, 2 times a week. So this part here, I want to turn the camera real quick. This is the piece that I added in. I left my pins on the inside to remind me of where the mark is. This is the vent area right here. I'm going to put a piece of fuse also. I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to add the fuse. This is Alterations Made Easy by Nigel Ramsey. I've been working on Alteration Made Easy for 5 years. I've been creating a little booklet called Alteration Made Easy, and in the booklet, you have all of these little tricks for the sleeves written in with a lot of literature with photographs. Giving you an opportunity to watch it by video, I think it really enhances my ability to reach people. So that's why I'm developing this as we speak. You guys are becoming part of my initial group. I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity. I want 100 apprentices by the end of 2023. I want you guys saying, Nigel, I'm so happy that I learned how to do alterations. All of the things that you told me about alterations this past year, I'm really thinking about opening an alteration shop. Would you consider flying to Louisiana? I have this amount of money and I want to create an alteration shop. I will help you shop for material, equipment. I could fly in equipment for some people. I did it in the past. I was telling you guys about flying to Puerto Rico for my client. Some clients could afford that. And when a client is willing to pay to fly you to Puerto Rico to fit their dress, you go to Puerto Rico. You go to Jamaica. You go to Atlanta. Guys, listen, if you want me to come and pick up your dress in your home state, you let me know. I have people who you could talk to. Anytime you're ready to do that, Richard, he handles all of my travels. You let me know and I'll give you Richard's number, his email, and you will contact him. So I'm transferring the mark now. I'm cutting the extra fabric, and this is where it gets a little tricky. This is where it gets tricky. So this is the mark. This is the new mark. Oh, it's raining outside. This is the new mark. This is the front side of the jacket. I'm going to go really fast right now. I need to pick up the speed a little bit. So this is the technique I'm going to show you guys. That's the original vent. This is the miter angle right here. I'm going to be shortening it up to here, but I want to use this as the vent that I flip over and I put up in there. Now, some people would cut it out. I don't cut it out. I leave it open like this. I always do that. And then I take the width of the ruler. And then I'm going to cut. Let me show you. I'm going to cut. I'm trying to match up the lines. Okay, there. I'm going to cut. This side is going to flip. Let me just put the phone down so I can show you. This side is going to be the front part of the vent. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it like that. That becomes the outer side of the vent. So that's the vent there. And then the underside, I'm going to turn it like this, and I'm going to leave as much extra fabric on the outside because I'm trying to create a vent. I'm going to fill up this space right here, and you'll see the beautiful vent I'm going to put on this side. I'm going to take my ruler. And I'm going to mark this. I love doing this angle piece right here. I add a piece of that fabric in there, and it just makes it look better, you know. This is that piece of fabric that I'm putting to make up the vent. So I'm making the vent up. So remember, we cut it out. This is the top of the vent on the inside of the sleeve. This is the part right here. Let me show you on the jacket. You see the jacket? This vent right here, that angle piece, it's up inside right here on the jacket. So it's cut. So if I bring this jacket short up to here, I'm losing all of this extra fabric on the inside. So that's what I'm doing. I'm recapturing the vent by remaking the vent. Now, why I do it? I do it because I prefer to do that. I like the look. I think it looks better. Okay? It looks better. I just prefer to do it because it looks better. It just fits the whole body better. It just looks better. Mr. Nigel, was it with Spirit Airlines? Spirit Airlines. Spirit Airlines. You mean if it was in the spirit? Yeah, it was in the spirit. Yeah, Spirit Airlines. No, no. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Nigel the conservator. Come on, Renz, let's chat a little bit. I'm gonna turn the camera around. I think you could join me on my live now, can't you? Invited. And you're invited, and you're invited. I'm gonna put my camera down. Join me if you'd like. Guys, the wind is picking up outside. Woo, you could hear it blowing on the window. New York City is under a storm advisory. We got that storm coming in. I think the camera is okay there. Okay, so now I'm gonna put all of this back together. So we're working on the opposite side sleeves now. I know it looks complicated, right? Someone said, oh my God, it's so complicated. Why do you do it? It's so complicated. I don't think it's complicated. I think it's very easy, but you know, this is what I do. So this is the underpiece. I'm going to make up the vent area here. This goes there. And remember how it goes in? Anyone remember how it goes? It goes from the back. I'm going to flip it over. Hi.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Long day of work. Christmas time, you know how it is.
Oh my goodness. I'm actually at work too. I'm
Yeah.
actually at work too. I'm showing people how to do this alteration. So if you're at work and you can't chat, maybe another time you can jump in with us.
No, I'm already out. I already did my time today. Gotta go in early tomorrow for all those people getting their stuff in last minute. But that's okay. That's what we're here for.
What kind of work you do?
Well, I do alterations in a tailor shop here.
Where,
I
where are
I
you
recently
located?
started. I'm the one from Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto
Yeah,
Rico. Puerto Rico guys in the house, Puerto Rico. So,
that's right.
um, What is the cost to shorten a pair of trousers in Puerto Rico?
Well, it usually depends on like what type of pant we're doing. If it's specifically trousers in our shop, I would say that can be like $15 to $12 maybe.
Oh, cool. What do you do for them in the alteration shop?
Oh, we do everything. I used to do basically sewing. I recently started doing alterations like 6 months ago. So this is still a little bit new to me in the terms of, well, doing the alterations. It's just a completely different world to actually sewing, I feel.
Okay, so you have some tailoring experience, some alterations experience, but you have experience doing made to measure clothing. That's good.
Yeah, that's right. I've been sewing all my life. My grandma taught me when I was little, and basically what I've been doing.
I love it. I love it. Anyone who wants to sew, anyone who likes to do alterations, I want to be able to come alongside people like you and say, hey, I'm happy that you're joining the field. I'm glad I'm going to be leaving the alteration worlds in your people's hands because, I think alterations can be a career for a lot of people. It's been a career for
Definitely.
me.
Yeah, it's a whole world that I feel like it's a little bit unexplored for the new generations.
Yep.
Everybody's always surprised when I'm turning 27 now. Everybody's really surprised when they come in the shop and they see that I'm the one doing the alterations.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's yeah, here typically it's usually the elder generation who are working the alteration shops, but we need new people
We
definitely.
need new people. We need new people. I have decided. One of my friends called me 2 nights ago, and he was like, "Those people are not going to learn. You're wasting your time." And I'm like, I refuse to accept that. I
No.
refuse to accept that. I want to show you guys. I want to show anyone who wants to learn how to do things like this. Look at this. Look at that. I'm adding in piece of fabric to make the vent because I want to keep the vent. I want to keep as much of the vent as possible.
Yeah.
I want to
Oh,
keep
that's
the vent.
amazing. It's a problem
You
I've encountered before, and I'm just amazed.
So now
But
you have a solution for it.
for sure.
Now you have a solution for it. Now you have a
Yeah.
solution for it.
I prefer
Alterations.
doing the alterations on women's clothing usually, but I definitely want to get better at trousers and suits and all that jazz.
I want you to get better at everything. So I am a technical designer, but my background is in women's clothing. I love creating dresses. So originally, when I first started to sew years ago, I would make dresses, and I found myself at Donna Karen. I found myself working for David Bijan in the city, but 1994, long before you were born, 19,
Yeah, for
1994,
sure.
1994,
I
and
was born in '95.
1994, and then I worked in a company called Skins, and they're still around. Their name Bridals right now, and I used to work for them a long time ago. A friend of mine's got me a job there. Let me just show you this for a second. Look, I flipped, I flipped the fabric inside out. I flipped it the opposite direction. This is the part from up under the sleeve that normally gets cut out. But because of doing it this way, I get to keep all that extra fabric on the inside.
Hmm.
I flipped it over, and now look, that's the outer part of the vent, just like that. So we're
Wow.
creating back the vent. I want to put a top stitch on the inside because that keeps it.
Hmm.
That keeps it. And I started to work with them. And then I went to Bloomingdale's in 2001 and I stayed there for 10 years. And I remembered working in Bloomingdale's, having all these big ideas. I want to go open my own alteration shop. I want to train my own tailors. I want to be able to do this. And I remember people discouraging me. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't invest your money in this. And I put it aside for another 2 years. I literally put it aside. What made you take the leap to go do alteration? Are you working for somebody in your alteration shop or is it your shop?
No, I am working for somebody. I was working for a designer for a while, and then I kind of decided I wanted to do a little bit more hands-on myself, I guess. So after a year there, I left and I found this alterations shops and they had me come in immediately and it was a really good experience so far. It's been amazing.
I love it. I love it. Would you work in New York City when you get over here also?
Oh my God, yes. I've been to New York many times. I absolutely love it. It would be amazing to work in New York.
I want to be able to qualify, you know, some apprentices primarily because I want to be able to create opportunity for young alteration providers. I want a ton of young people gravitating towards my lives to learn because I believe I can teach anyone this art. Let me show you this right here. Look, I flipped it inside out because I'm trying to create the pocket. And look what happened. My needle kind of pulled. So I got to go see what's going on inside of the machine. You know, who's your quality control manager? I like to say, you are. You know, if you're letting something come off, you know, when something is stitched bad and you let
Yeah.
it go through, you're the one who's putting a bad signature to your work. So go back and, you know, correct it. Go back and fix it. Don't give customers work that is just shoddy. Don't do it.
Mhm.
You know? So you do women's alteration on women's clothing. Do you do a lot of bridals?
Yeah, I've done bridals. We really do just pick up anything that comes in. Everybody, we don't usually say no to anything. We
I
don't
love
shy
it.
away.
I love it. What's the name of the owner of the brand? Do you mind sharing the name of the brand? Let's give it a little bit of hype.
Her name's Santa, like Santa Claus, I guess,
Uh-huh.
but without the claus.
What part of Puerto
um,
Rico?
Sorry.
What part of Puerto Rico?
So it's in the metropolitan area, so around Guaynabo. Those.
I've been to Puerto Rico a couple of times, twice actually, and the last time I was there, I spent time in Guaya Guaver. How you pronounce it? It's a little island off of Puerto Rico.
Well, okay, so it could have been Culebra, Vieques,
Vieques, Vieques,
Vieques.
Vieques.
Did you like it?
Oh my God, it was like heaven. It was like
Yeah.
heaven. It was like heaven. And then the second time I went there, I spent it in downtown Puerto Rico, where the fort is, the old fort.
Yeah, in San Juan.
Yes, in San Juan. That's where we spent it. And I took a rental car, and I drove around the complete circumference of the island.
Yeah, it's doable in a day, so it's
It's
definitely
doable.
a
It's doable in
to
a day. It's doable in a day. I did it in one day, and then the second day I did it, I went the opposite direction because I missed some of the restaurants.
Yeah.
My family are big foodies, so we would stop at restaurants, little hole in the wall restaurants that has
Right.
good reviews from the locals, and we would go and make a reservation and go and order everything on the menu, and all four of us would sit and eat.
For sure, yeah. There's a lot of, especially if you go around the shoreline, a lot of seafood places. Everything's so fresh.
I love it. I love Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. So you having a celebration for the holiday season, I'm sure. It was such a pleasure talking with you. I love connecting with people who sew. So any questions that you ever have about alterations, any ideas that you ever need an answer for, feel free. Just hit me a message. Say, hey, Nigel, I'm having a trouble with this. Do a video, post it on your TikTok and ask the question, and I will answer with a response to you, or part of my community will do so for you. I just want to show you. Look at the inside. Look,
Thank you.
that's
Thank
the
you so much
pin.
for that.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
flipping it from the inside out, and now I want to put a stitch to hold the vent to the
Right.
top here because I'm trying to create the vent back again. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put the stitch. I flipped it under. I'm going to just put a stitch just to hold it. And now I'm going to slip the sleeve. I want to remove some of the debris. I want to remove some of this fabric, otherwise the fabric flops over when the customer has it on. There's our vent, guys. We got our vent back. There's our vent right there. And we are talking to, tell me your name again, from Puerto Rico.
It's coral.
We're talking to Coral, guys, from Puerto Rico. Coral, this jacket, I have to taper the inner sleeve also. So before I go close it up, I just
Right.
remembered. Remember earlier I put the marks on the sleeve. I want to go ahead and put that mark. so that when I close up the sleeve, I don't have to go back and do that particular mark again. So I want to do that. I was supposed to finish this jacket on Monday afternoon, and I thought I'm going to start it today. I'm going to start it today. This tailor shop was open, Coral, on the 6th of December. What do you think about that?
Like this month, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
I want to tell you the brand Taylor's Atelier started in 2015 with one other seamstress by my side. Her name was Oyonsana. Oyonsana joined me in 2015 and we started Taylor's Atelier. And as an alteration provider in the East Village in Manhattan, we were able to to gather a really large following. I want to tell you this, Cora, right?
That's
I want you
amazing.
to build relationships with all of your clients that you get an opportunity to talk to. Build relationships with them. Let them get to know you. Talk about fit with them. Talk about get to know what they like, what they don't like. So that when they come the next time, you could say, I know you don't like to have your pants done really long. I remember the last time you fitted, you made a no break on your trousers. Is that the same thing that you want to? Customers, they
That's
love
a great
you. They
tip.
love you when you remember what they like.
That's an amazing tip. I will keep that in mind. I feel like the owner of the shop is definitely uses that trick up her sleeve.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying, the whole idea is to build relationships. What are some of the most challenging situations that you've encountered in the last 2 years doing this particular business? Have you ever had like a situation where you felt like you didn't have the answer?
Oh my God, not so much where I didn't have the answer, more like I didn't have the time. Everything is always so rushed. I back when I was working with the designer, I did have a lot of occasions where I had to pull all-nighters to be able to finish the work on time. I did a lot of beading work with him, so that took a lot of time.
I love it. 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 I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm always thrilled to meet new people. I'm taking this to the table so I can use this to iron the board. I'm always thrilled to come across new people, to meet new people. I'm always grateful that I get an opportunity to teach. This is my passion for 2023. I intend to tell everyone that if you would like to learn alteration services and you have a sewing machine and you want to learn how to do this type of stuff, I want to literally put the camera on and say, there it is. You don't have to pay $60 to do it. You can learn to do it for yourself. And to the people who can sew, I want to show you how to do it so that you could now begin to provide additional services in your store. And you will say, oh my goodness, I learned this from Nigel. Most of the fees for the Zoom classes are very low, to be honest with you. The agenda will be dropped, I think, on the 3rd. My son said it's going to be ready to be released on the 3rd. So with the syllabus comes all of the prices. And like I said, for a few dollars here and a few dollars there, you'll get the art of alteration that took me years to provide, layers to learn. Look, I'm checking the jacket. Tell me what you think.
Experience is everything. That looks
It
amazing.
looks good. I'm going to give it a little press. Let me give it a little press because you know this iron and alteration is,
Of course.
is like the savior. I'm going to give it a little press. Set it up. Little press. You want the vent to lap over like a regular jacket vent. You want the sleeve to hang perfectly fine. You want to get your vent. I want to open it up and give it a little press on the board. I want to flatten it out, and then I want to go back to the machine, and I want to close up the lining. No, we're leaving the lining open because we still have to work on the chest dart. You know where the chest dart is on the jackets, right? Under the arm.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys some prices, by the way. And if you do alterations and you want to have some basic prices, I want to tell you some prices that you could apply for yourself in New York City, based on where these businesses are located. Some of the tailor shop would either charge you a little bit more or a little bit less. I'm in the little bit less mood right now, so I've been charging tailors, seamstresses and tailors a little bit less. I've been paying seamstresses and tailors a little bit less to do the work, but I'm able to pass that savings back to the clients, and they love it. The clients love it. Okay, so there is the sleeve. It's all pressed. I'm going to go back to the machine now, and I'm going to flip it back on the inside out, and I'm going to turn it over and give you a chance to look at it from the inside. Okay. So, what's your plan for the holiday in Puerto Rico?
Oh, well, drinking lots of coquito
Oh,
and
oh,
having lots of arroz con gandule.
oh, oh. That sounds like the life. That sounds like the life. I hope you get it. How's the weather? It's raining and cold in New York City.
Oh, it's hot and sweaty here for sure.
I love it. I love it. I'm telling you, you could find joy and happiness anywhere in the world. And if you're somebody who can sew, you can travel. You know, I have a friend, right? He travels the world. And what he does is he finds out from places and cities that has alteration shops and tailoring services where he could apply for a job before he goes. So like he went to Barcelona, he
Correct.
speaks Spanish and Portuguese a little. He went to Barcelona, he found a job in the city as a tailor. So the first week he went there to live, he was able to make money to pay his rent. The
Oh,
very first week, just because he was doing tailoring and alteration services.
it's a great skill to have. Everybody wears clothes.
Everyone wears clothes. It's like restaurants. Everyone has to
Exactly.
eat, everyone has to eat, and everyone has to dress. And where you have vanity and narcissists, people will continue wanting to look good in their clothing. And that's what we're here for. We're here to facilitate the dream of perfect looking clothing. Yep.
Definitely.
We facilitate the dream. We are dream makers.
Well, thank
You-
you so much for having me in your live.
I love it. I love
I
it.
will be
Thank you very
sticking
much.
around for your classes for sure.
Oh, come on in anytime. If you ever have a question, ask the question. Say, Nigel, it's me. Follow and like my page, share the live, put me on notification if you like the literature that you're getting. And I would love to chat with you guys again. See you when I come to Puerto Rico.
Of course, thank you so much. I'm leaving the time for somebody else to chat
Have
with
a
you.
great afternoon.
You too.
Feel free to log off because I can't move the phone from where it is right
No,
now.
you're good. See you.
Bye bye. Happy holiday. Wasn't that beautiful, guys? We get to talk to people from Puerto Rico to Alabama to Germany. I want someone coming in from, I had a friend calling in from Switzerland a couple of nights ago. So that's the lining. I'm going to cut the lining off. Cut the lining out. Now we're going to take the jacket down, match the lining. And I'm going to put my hands inside and grab it like that because I want to flip it inside out. I want to flip it inside out like that so that I can stitch the jacket sleeves back to the line and inside out. I'm going around, I'm going around, I'm going around, I'm going around, I'm going around. It is so windy outside. The wind is trumping at my windows. I'm adding back the lining. I'm taking my time. I'm adding back the lining. Remember, I stitched half. You're going to stitch half up to where the vent is, and then you're going to slip it out, and then you're going to start back because you can't go through where the vent is because the vent is there. So you got to reach for it, sort of a reach for it. Maybe I'll buy an automatic machine in the new year. I promise myself I'm not going to purchase any new equipment. I don't want to end up with the same set of problems that I had before, a ton of equipment and nothing to do with it. So I'm closing the lining back right now. I flipped it inside out. And then I'm going to turn the jacket back to the right side. I'm going to show it to you guys. And then Nigel is going to take a break. Here we go. There it is. There's the lining coming out. When we're cutting the lining, always cut the lining to the length of the sleeve. Don't cut the lining short. I prefer you to have a long lining that you shortened after. Okay? I'm going to leave this vent open because I have to do the chest darts and I have to get into the body of the jacket. I have to do the chest dart and I have to get into the body of the jacket. So let me turn this over. Feel free to be critical. This is where you guys say, no, I don't think so, Nigel. That's not what it's done. There's always someone who tells me, and I go, listen, man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm going to sew on the buttons. Look at that. It's going to press really nicely. I'm going to sew on the buttons right now so you can see me sew on the buttons also before you go. This side is finished. I want to at least transfer the first mark. So I want to know where the first mark is. So instead of trying to measure it, I just bring the jacket around. I line up the both of them and I put a pin. That's where my first mark goes. He can get out of the way. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. You're already missing your clients? Oh, I wish I could have taken a break. I'm glad that you're a husband and you could do something different for a little while, girl. Take the break. I took the break from June 15th until December 1st. June, July, August, September, October. What is that? 6 months? 7 months? 7 months of wandering, my family called it. I would go to shows. I would just do things other than sewing. I didn't want to see a needle. I got exhausted by this, but I got some time to sit down and to meet some really cool people and to come up with some really cool ideas and to learn how to communicate a little bit better. I really sucked at having long conversations with people. I ran out of ideas. It's like I would be sitting there and you'd be looking at me and I'd be looking at you and it would be like, yeah, okay. I'm sewing on the first button. The first button is going to go through and through. I always start from the outside. I'm going to check to the bottom to make sure that I don't catch the lining. And while I'm looking on the inside, any loose threads, I'm going to take that out right away. So what we just did was we made a vent, guys. We created a vent. We created a vent so that when we shorten the length of the jacket, sleeve, the vent went back in the right position. I have to put a vent back on her jacket. There's no way I'm going to give Sienna her jacket and didn't put the vent back on it. No, I don't think so. Look, she didn't even pay me for this alteration, but she's such a good friend. You know, right away, she gravitated towards us. She saw us on Instagram. And the first time when she came in and she was like, I'm going to tell everybody about your service. And I was like, okay. You know, people tell you that, right? But you only have to kind of like wait and see, you know? So look, I wrapped the thing around my finger and I made a knot around the button. Now I'm going to take the needle and instead of going in from the inside, I'm trying to avoid this lining. I'm going to slide the needle between. I'm feeling on the inside where the lining is, and I'm making sure that I don't catch the lining. And I didn't separate the thread. I tell you why I don't separate the thread. Because I want an anchor holding the buttons on the inside, same anchor holding the buttons on the outside. I want that button to be anchored. Should in case it comes loose, there's an additional layer of thread that's connected on the inside that's holding it. That's how you put the buttons to kiss. It's just touching each other. And I like to sew on the buttons from the top. I'm going to wrap it once, a little pull. I'm going to tie the knot off twice. These are buttons. Now, when you're putting functional buttons on buttonholes, if the buttons on the sleeve, if you could have unbuttoned it, then I would add you to add a shank on the buttons because you need to put a little lift. But this is fine kissing like this. Can you hear the wind, guys? The wind is blowing against my window. The wind is blowing against my window. I love it when the thread knots. It gives me a chance to remember that I'm just human. I'm not a God creating. I'm just human. We are all creators. And if you are somebody who likes to create clothing, then I love the fact that you join me on my live. And I love the fact that you guys are interested in learning to sew. If you love learning to sew and you want to learn the art of alterations coming in January next year, I'm going to teach you how to taper a pants, how to do alterations on a pants. Then I'm going to teach you how to do alterations on a skirt. Then I'm going to teach you how to do alterations on a shirt. Then I'm going to teach you how to do alterations on a dress. Then I'm going to come back and teach you alterations on a jacket. I'm going to reintroduce you to shortening sleeves. By that time, you'll be excited. By that time, you would be ready to go. By that time, you'll be like, oh, Nigel, man, you showed me how to do that jacket sleeve so many times in all of these videos that you've been putting out that I basically... I'm lining the button up. The first one, and you have to line it up because you want to get a nice vertical line on your buttons. This is alterations, but you want it to be done right. I'm sorry. I'm not the sloppy alteration provider. If I'm going to do something for you, if I'm going to put my hands to it, it has to be perfect. You know, the reason why a lot of tailors come to work with me is because I bring their standard up. I force them to do it better. If something come off of your machine and you don't have the quality control will to make sure that the work is actually something that matches the original standard, then I will be the person who tells you, I'm sorry, you need to do that over again. The customer is not going to get it looking sloppy. So that's one side. What did we do tonight? Tonight I taught you how to shorten a sleeve and taper a sleeve. Now I'm going to do the chest darts. I put the marks already, it's under. I need to reattach this buckle to the front. I'm going to reattach this buckle, and then I have to reset the buttons. So stick around if you want. I'm going to stop talking for a little while. I'm going to pop a hole in the bottom of the jacket here just to enter. And I'll close it up when I'm done by hands because the sleeve is a closed sleeve head because it's a men's jacket, you know, and it's cut, it's sewn like a men's jacket. It's supposed to be for a lady, but no, it's supposed to be for a guy, I think. But she's wearing it and we make it fit her, as simple as that. We just make it fit her. We tweak it and make it fit her. That's it. Period. Period. Okay. I cannot believe they actually closed the line on the side. They actually closed the line on the side, so I can't even get in on the center back after literally getting from the front. So that means I'll have to open up the whole bottom of the jacket and reclose it when I'm done. I'm just going to open one side right here. They literally trapped the back part of the jacket, so I can't put my hand through. So this is the opening. I have to close by hand when I'm done. I'm trying to get my hands inside of here. Look, there's a pick stitch preventing me. I have to go see what's that pick stitch. If it's just a simple pick stitch that keeps the line in, I pop that out. See the pick stitch? Take out a little bit more. So I'm trying to catch it on the front side, and then on the back side, unlike what the company did, they just kind of like, they just stuck it in there and put a weird stitch on the top. I'm trying to hide that look. So I'm going to stitch it from the inside and flip it over that way. I mean, who does that? Apparently this company does. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that it could have been done better. That's all. And the position was off on her body, hence the reason why I had to open this vent, because she has a regular torso, and for some reason the torso was very high on this one. So I'm trying to put it back in, and then the edge is very slender, so I have to be very nimble getting it back in. Guys, we were talking to our seamstress friend from Puerto Rico. Please go follow her, like her page, say hi to her if you're in Puerto Rico and you need alterations. Go support her brand with her owner. Look at that. So now it's trapped on the inside and it's cleaner because there's no top stitch. I'm not going to put that top stitch back on the top. But I have to use the machine to secure it on the first side because I want something strong enough to hold it, you know? Okay, I'm going to use a needle and thread now. Needle, thread. I'm going to double it. Anybody wants to be an alteration specialist? I want to teach you the art of alteration so that you could be able to do your own alterations. 2023 is the year I've decided to go rogue and teach everyone how to do these alterations. So this is the inside of the jacket. I just stitched on the outside. So now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to tuck in all of these threads. And I'm going to start in the bottom. I want to try to hide the knot on the inside like that. Don't pull too hard. And I'm gonna tag this by hands right now. Look, can you see? Doing alterations, you have to have a lot of imagination. That much I can tell you. Like if you can't imagine how it's supposed to look, it's going to be difficult. It takes a long time to build up that muscle, you know, where you know how it's supposed to look. That's why coming on these live where you get to just look at how to do the work without all of the pressure, you know, of having to learn it at the same time. I think you learn to observe how to do it. I normally have a thimble to put on my finger. I'm really happy that you guys are here with me this afternoon. If you don't mind tapping the screen a little bit, guys, and sharing the video. If this content is satisfying to you and you're able to learn anything at all from me, feel free to share my content. Feel free to gift us. That's me, myself, and I. Feel free to gift me. I'm grateful. Here we go. I'm coming up to the top. This is all on the inside. Look at the outside. It's clean as a whistle. And originally what they did, they just stuck it in and put a stitch. Look, I'm pulling out the thread from before. They just stuck it in and they put a stitch on the top. It was like an afterthought to this designer who probably thought, "Oh, let's put a buckle on the side." You could tell it's an afterthought because it wasn't carefully executed. It should have been sewed in prior to putting on the buttonhole. So for me, the technical design team should have done a better job on this designer jacket. But who am I? I'm just the alteration guy. It just cost her $20 for me to do that. Yep, $20. Because the technical designer who designed this piece couldn't look beyond what he was seeing or she was seeing to think about what it actually means to have a loop across the front of a jacket right under a buttonhole. And what is going to cause, oh, how about I just add a belt across the front? I bet that's how it came. So that is in. I want to pull on it a little just to test it. It's good. That's in. I have to move the buttonholes. I have to move the button position. Whilst I'm there, I'm going to do that right away. I have my black thread here already threaded. I want to be very proactive so that I don't move around the outfit a lot when I'm doing the work. This needle is, this button is on the back side only. It doesn't go through. But you want to catch a little bit of the canvas when you're doing it from the right side so that it will help to keep it in place. So I put my button mark, I take my seam ripper, and I'm going to carefully remove the one that's there. And I want to remove all of the thread. There. I'm going to put the button back. This button, we have to put the shank on. You know what I mean by the shank, right? I want this button to be lifted off. You see that how it lifted off there? I want this button to be lifted off just like that. So I don't know if I have enough thread here, but I'll try. We're doing the cross. You want to do it a little bit loose. You don't want to pull it very tight. You want to do it very loose. About 1/4 of an inch, about 2/8 of an inch. And then you want to wrap it around like that about 4 times, and it gets a nice lift off the button like this. It lifts. And then you want to tie it off. I'm going to tie it at least 3 times. And then for safety's sake, because I cut the thread so short, I take the needle and I run it backwards in through the bottom a couple of times so that I hide the end. A little pulling. I'm going to thread my needle right away because I know I need more black. So as I'm doing this, every morning I clean up my machine, and by every evening, all of the spools of thread that I work, I kind of keep them on the machine all day long. And then in the morning I get up and I will repack the machine, wipe down all the machines, get the space ready, and then I'll start all over again. 2 strands, so I have 4 strands of thread. I want to tie it off right away and put a knot in the bottom. Okay, now let's move the button on the outside one time. This button also, it doesn't come all the way through. We're using a little bit on resetting the button to give a little bit more room. It's done on the outside. Can you see this? I'm doing it on the outside. Put my first 2 tacks. Sometimes the thread knots. Don't get intimidated by that. Pull it through. Then you want to cut off the old buttonhole. I do it right next to it because I want to be able to get it accurate. Oh boy, there's a storm hitting New York City. I'm going to pack up after this and go home. There you go. Now the button. I want to add this button on the outside. It has to have a little bit of a play to it. We call it a shank when we wrap the thread around, but we're raising a loop. Anybody knows what you guys call this when I do this? I'm sure there's another name for it. Hold on. The thread just got tangled up a little bit right there. I got to individually separate the strands and then pull out all of the because God forbid that this goes and get ties up right here right now, because I'll have to take out the whole button. So I prefer just to stop for a minute and see which one of the threads are actually causing this and pull on each of them individually until it comes through. And then when it comes through, I got to keep it out. I'm adding the then you want to tie it off really good. I just cut that one. Let me just test it real quick before I move. I want to check the buttons to make sure they line up. Cut out any loose threads that we see. Okay, so that looks good there. And then the loop is going to come through here. Can you see? It's going to come through here. And then it's going to catch on the belt. And when she puts it on, that's going to help to add a little bit of tension on the waist for her. So you see? It's a very pretty jacket. I think it's a nice look. And the way it's going to fit when she gets it back, it's going to be 100% better. So now I have to put the chest dart. So I'm going to open up. And then we're going to close up under the arms. And we are done, guys. Let me read some of the comments. I'm coming. Let me just read some of the comments real quick. Yes, he is very knowledgeable. The wax world destroyed the instrument inside sewing machine. Wax built up. You guys are wonderful at everything he's teaching. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys, for all of your support. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see who's here. I am going to follow Nitra, the creator. Boom, I just followed you. You're part of my team right now, Nitra. Free tailoring tips. Nobody's doing this on the internet right now. Go see. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of us has decided to give away this information for free. Maybe not at the level that I'm doing it, but there's a lot of people who would capitalize on your lack of knowledge. So look, I popped a hole. I put my hands up between the lining, and I'm trying to get up inside of here because I want to get to this seam so I could take this inner seam. This is under the chest. Is going to give her a nice little shape. Take my hands out of there. I gotta pull it out. Look, I'm pulling it out. Trying to go inside of there. Maybe I could open up the seam a little bit more. Get a little bit more room. Look, the less I open, the less I have to close. So I only open what I need to open, and that's it. And I recommend you do the same thing also. If you're going to open to stitch and turn, don't waste your time having to open up a lot. Only open up what you need. This is the inside of the jacket. I kind of lost myself. I lost my way, guys. I got to do it again. Anyone could learn to do alterations. You just have to be a little bit patient, and you have to be willing to be honest with you, fail. You have to be willing to do it again. That's why I recommend learning on pieces that you have in your wardrobe. So if you screw up anything, it'll be your clothing and nobody else's. Okay? I don't anticipate you messing anything up because I really think if it's done right, anyone could learn. That's why we're easing you into the difficult work. What I'm showing you here tonight is just stuff I'm showing you. I want to ease you into this type of stuff. So this is the chest dart. I'm pushing all of the work aside. Chest dart. I'm going to put a nice curve on it because I remember where the curve was on the outside. I have to bring it back in. The chest dart goes right over the pocket. So I got to be very careful to smoothly integrate back into the line. I want to show you guys what I'm talking about here. Look, come in. Let me bring this closer to show you. Can you see there? That's the original line. I just caught it. I'm going to give it a little back tack right there. I can't hold the phone and maybe right there, like so. I'm back tacking exactly on my line. I'm going to leave my needle up. Let's take it out. I want to show you. This is the chest dart. It's under the arms to the front. And what I did is I curved it. So now you get a better shape on her body when she puts it on. It was just too big. Listen, I understand you're wearing a jacket, and I understand that it's supposed to be big, but on a girl's body, if it's just boxy, it just ruins her whole look. No, 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 no. We're going to organize. We're going to augment that chest dart. We're going to augment it just a little. I have to go to the iron to open this seam. I have to go do the other side. So I'm going to go do the other side because I want to go to this iron and open up the seam on the both sides at the same time. I want to limit the amount of time that I get up from the sewing machine. Look, I have to open here because there's no way I could come across. I checked already just now. They stitched the front and the back. They sandwiched it. They sandwiched the back between the front and the back because the back has a mesh across the back that makes it breathe across the back. I'll show you when we're done. So in order to get into the both sides, I literally have to open both sides of the front lining and then I'll reclose it when we're done. You want to take your time, guys. You want to enjoy this work. I don't know. I have never worked a day in my life, I like to say. I have done tailoring and alteration services for over 16 years in New York City and the tri-state area. So my hands is up inside, you see? And then I'm going to reach up there. I'm going to reach up there. Look, I'm reaching up inside of the jacket. Can you see? I'm reaching up inside of the jacket. And I'm going to put my hands from up inside of the line. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to rip it. I'm going to move it into position. We're not necessarily just pulling it. We're going to move it into position. We want to open up the line so that we could. I want to try to flip it over as much as possible because I'm trying to get enough space so that when I start to stitch on the line, guys, it's not being held by anything else. It's not being held by the front part. It's not being held by the back. So it's a nice clean line here. Getting ready to stitch it. Free, 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 free. Where else are you going to learn to do a chest dart on a Friday? Is it Friday? On a Friday evening in New York City, 2 days before Christmas Eve, Nigel is busy and he wants to show you how to do the work, and he's literally single-handedly teaching how many of you? 96 of you how to add a chest dart to your clothing. Eventually, it's going to be only stitches here. I know. When you guys set your alert for when Taylor's Atelier goes live so that you could know when I'm here, because every time I come on, get ready to learn how to do something. And in the future, in the morning periods, we're going to put a video out that talks about what we're going to be doing that day as bonus, because every day they're going to be bonuses where you're going to learn how to do a button, or where you're going to learn how to sew on something. I just want to teach you how to do alteration, guys. I want to create 100 new apprentices who are qualified by me personally to be an alteration specialist. If you get qualified by me personally, it means that you could qualify to be one of the people who are going to interview to be one of my apprentices for another year. During the year, it's a paid apprenticeship program. So when you work, you don't work for free. You actually work and you get money from the work that you create, from that you do, and you get a salary. That's right. You are going to have a salary. So there we go. I'm opening the chest dart. I'm going to teach you how to do a chest dart, because it's the skill that you're paying for, the ability to know what to do. Taking your time is one of the things that you really, really learn a lot in tailoring. You got to be patient. If you're somebody who is not patient, I don't think alterations is something that you should do. Let's go open those seams on the machine. Let's go open up those seams on the machine. Hey guys, it's me, Nigel, with Taylor's Atelier. I'm settled comfortably at 15 Canal Place in the Bronx, and I've been providing alteration services for New Yorkers for over 16 years in the metropolitan tri-state area. I have clients going back to 1999 when I first met Stephen Hodak. Stephen Hodak is an internist. I think he works on the inside of the body doctor. Him and his wife, they had just moved here out of Atlanta, and he brought me 7 pairs of pants at Bloomingdale's, and our relationship started. And I've been doing alterations for Steve and his wife forever. That's the kind of influence I love. When his daughter was getting, I think, graduation, I got a chance to meet her, did some dresses for her. I'm always doing alterations. I prefer to do alterations. I prefer to teach people alterations because I want apprentices. I want to be able to hire new people in the tailoring world and in the alteration world. I want to be a facilitator of people who wants to learn alterations. I want to come on here every day until I have a following of 100,000 people logging on to watch the free videos that I'm giving out here. I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to turn the screen. I just opened up the chest dart seams from the inside. I flipped it both sides, and now it's over the board. Can you see that? It's up inside of there. So I opened the seams both sides like that, and I pressed it. Now I have to go close up the arm. Remember, we tapered the sleeve. We added a chest dart. We shortened the length of the sleeve. We reset the button on the front. This jacket probably cost her $300. And she probably paid another, what, 150 to 170 for alterations. And the alterations, I've been working on this jacket now for almost 3 hours, 4 hours. So if you would understand what that means, if in 2 hours you could make $170 based in alterations, then you actually not doing a really bad job, But there are seamstresses who will take 5 hours to do the same job. So don't think that because I'm doing it really fast, it's easy. It's really one of the most difficult tasks on the job to shorten the sleeve from the bottom and to add the vent back. I just taught you how to do that. So now I'm closing up under the arms. I have to clear the path because this is a one stitch situation. One stitch. So I got to clear the path. I got to make sure everything is open. I use the pins a lot. Someone is telling me right now, Nigel, I can't believe you're using safety pins, using those straight pins. Yes, I do. Go ahead and tell me whatever you want. I love interaction from people. I really do. Okay, so now I'm matching the lines back from under the arms. The original mark, I want to show you. Look right here. That's the original mark. That's the original stitch. Can you see the original stitch there? I'm going to line up my needle with that original stitch. And that's right there because I know I caught it. I'm going to do a little back tack just to hold it in place. I don't like that one hand back tack, so I'm going to put the camera down. Guys, who is your quality control manager? Whenever you hear me say that, I want you to say, I am, and just because it's your work, it has to be perfect. 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 Don't settle for mediocrity. Don't settle for doing halfway work. If people are going to pay you for this work, you're going to learn to do it at its best. It's as simple as that. You're going to learn to do it at its best. That's it. End the story. Oh my goodness, I'm bossy too. Somebody's saying, look how bossy this man is. Okay, I'm going to pop the pins out and I want to flip it on the outside to see if it's stitched properly. I want to check it. I want to make sure that the stitch is clean. And when I open it, there's no pulling or nothing. This is good. I'm going to clean out any extra threads or anything. Very good, right? What do you guys think? So far, so good. So far, so good. Okay. So the sleeve was done. We tapered the jacket. We add the chest darts. Now guess what? Inside of the lining here has to be closed up. Originally, it was stitched by the machine. I'm going to show you why we left the sleeve open. Remember, we left the hole in the sleeve open? Let me stitch the other side first for the chest dart. I'm going to go up under here. I'm going to close off that line. I'm in the seam. I'm excited. I'm on a roll. I'm going to finish Sienna's jackets. When she comes on Monday, it'll be ready. This is a new client. She's a DJ here in New York. If you go to my Instagram page, I followed her yesterday. You will see her. I'm going to tack it. Always do the back tack when you're first introducing a line. Make sure and have all the seams open. Remember just now I took the pins and I pinned it down. Just now I didn't do it and I forgot. I forgot, okay? I forgot. I'm going to put all of the inner waddings back. I'm going to catch this line. Can you see? I'm going to catch this line from here back to there. Putting it down. Open the seams from the sleeves. Open the seams from the underarm. The key is to make sure that when this stitch is stitched, it's nice and clean. There's no rolling or anything. You want to check it as you stitch it. This you would learn probably around September next year, you will be finally ready to get to this. In the meantime, I'll teach you how to shorten a basic jacket sleeve. I'll teach you how to do the center seam on the jacket. I'll teach you how to do... This is not good. This is not good. Let me show you this. Who's your quality control manager? You are. Let me show you what that means. It means that the stitch has to come out. Damn straight it has to come out. If you put a stitch and you pull it out of the machine and it looks crooked, and it looks like it's gathered or it looks like it's not done right, don't rely on nobody to tell you that. You're the quality control manager. You make sure that the work is good. You make sure that the line stitch is good. Okay? Neatness and accuracy first. Neatness and accuracy first. You are the quality control manager here. So you got to make sure that if you're putting a stitch on something and you don't like the stitch, who made you believe that the customer is going to have to deal with that nonsense? No. No, 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 no. You are going to be really good stitchers when you learn with me. Because neatness and accuracy comes first. Neatness and accuracy first. Write a note. Say, I'm learning how to do basic alterations from Nigel. And he keeps telling me neatness and accuracy first. You know why I tell you neatness and accuracy first? Because my teacher, Pete Williams, 4 years Master Craftsman certification in Trinidad and Tobago. And Pete Williams would tell you neatness and accuracy first. Speed comes naturally. Neatness and accuracy first. Speed comes naturally. Because naturally, you're going to come faster at doing this job. Naturally, you're going to pick up the speed. That's easy. Speed is easy. Doing it right the first time and making sure that you don't create nothing that looks horrible when you're done for customers. In the Art of Alteration series, we talk about some of the problems that you face when you work with clients. And sometimes you have clients who just doesn't understand what it will actually take to give them the look that they want. All they know is that they have a picture in their mind of what you should do for them. And it's your job now to interpret that idea and to convert it into something that fits perfect for your client. So we're going to stitch under the arms, and then we're going to go back and we're going to check it again. And if it's not good again, Nigel, you're going to take it out and do it over again. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do it over again. This time I checked the error that I created just now, and I'm not seeing it here. Oh, I'm seeing a little pinch and a bad spot. It looks a little bit better there, but look right here, I'm getting a little pull. I want to take that out also. Whew. That's right at the top. When I go around the corner, the inner lining is pulling it on the inside. So if I could clear that up just a little bit, it'll be perfect. We are a New York-based alteration provider during regular business hours, and when I'm not shooting video, which it seems like all the time. I'm meeting clients at 15 Canal Place in the Bronx, right off of 3rd Avenue, walking distance from the number 6, number 4, number 5 train, where I show you what I can do to make your clothing fit better. I've been doing that in New York City for 16 years now as an alteration provider. I've worked with some of New York City's finest tailors, men and women whose main interest, as far as we are concerned, has always been just to make you look good in your clothes. So if you don't look good in something and you're searching for an alteration provider in New York City, you should choose Tailor's Atelier. And I'll tell you why. You get to meet me when you come. You get to say, I followed you. I've been following you. I've been learning how to sew from you. I've been recommending you to my friends and family. Yeah, that's good now. And I couldn't wait to come and meet you and bring you some clothes and support your tailors. On Monday, two of the tailors will be in. And then in the first week of January, there'll be three people at all times. We have a shift that starts in the evening. The calendar is going to be opened up until 11 p.m. because we're anticipating a lot of work. Okay, that looks nice and smooth now. I got to take out all the extra thread that got caught up inside of the seam. That's done. Now I got to close this up here. I'm going to stitch. I'm going to put a pleat because I don't want to take in under the arms. I want to just keep the fabric pleated in. Look, you could go ahead and stitch it out if you want. Feel free. My alteration services through the years, I've emphasized on keeping all the extra fabric on the inside as much as possible. So remember we left the vent open on the sleeves, right? So I'm setting up this for a stitch right now. I'm setting it up for a stitch. I'm putting all the things back. I'm adding a pleat because I wanted a pleat. I could stitch this line here, but I don't want to do that. I want to create a little opportunity for the lining to move. Now I'm going to go back on the inside of the sleeve. That's the inside of the sleeve. Remember we left the hole on the inside of the sleeve like that? Now I'm going to go up on the inside of the sleeve and I'm going to flip it out, flipping it out, where I can see the top part of the inside of the sleeve, just like that. I know it's like one blur right now. Somebody's like saying, what on earth is happening? I could imagine the notes that you guys are writing out. Please go ahead and write all the questions. I'm going to stop in a second and read them out. Read them out loud. Okay? I'm closing the lining now. I want to turn it back inside out and I want to check. If it's closed all the way through. Remove any extra threads. Remove those pins that we put to hold it. And then we want to close this line off. This is the inside of the sleeve. No one flips their sleeves inside out to see that I stitched it with white thread, but now Sienna knows. Oh, I slipped right here, look. I'm closing the hole on the inside of the jacket sleeve. Most manufacturers flip and turn their jacket sleeves through a little vent that they make on the inside of the sleeves. Most manufacturers does it. Okay, here comes the other sleeve. We're going to pull it out. We're going to go up under the arms. Remember, we're going in. Look at the work from the inside where we tapered the sleeves earlier. Can you see that? That was like an hour ago. Okay, now I'm going to flip the downwards. I'm going to pull it out so I can see it. By the time you guys get to the advanced level, this will seem like nothing to do. Right now it's complicated because you're looking at it only from one perspective. I'm just adding one more pin. Now, look how big that original stitch is right there. Can you see that's the original stitch? I'm just going to, and so on that line, that stitch is normally a eighth of an inch away from the one that's there originally. We're on the home stretch, people. We're on the home stretch. We're almost ready to go press this jacket. But I'm not going to press it because it's too cold outside and I don't want to get any steam on my body as I go out into the cold winter night in New York City. I want to check. Woo. All right, 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's take those pins out. Let's check the line, make sure everything looks nice and clean. My pleat is holding fine, that's where I put it. It's going to pleat off right inside, like here. I'm going to pleat that off. I'm going to clean it up. Guys, the jacket is done. I just have to close this last hole here, and then I have to close the lining in the bottom, and we're done. Alteration services. Alterations is a hard job. I discourage people from quitting, but I got to tell you, learning alterations is going to change your life because you're going to have a different perspective about what it takes to actually alter clothing. Can someone tell Sienna her jacket is done? I just have to press it now. 3 hours later, but it's done. So that's out of the way from next week. I won't have to worry about it when I come in here on Monday, you know. I'm a little bit of a workaholic when I'm working because what I do I don't see as work, to tell you the truth. I have a lot of fun doing what I do. And it's very rewarding because I get a chance to meet really cool people. And lately, I've been doing the live on my TikTok a little bit more often, and I'm getting to meet really cool people from around America and around the world. I met someone from Puerto Rico today. I met someone from Alabama. I think she said she was from today. And she has a sewing community. She says that hardly anyone in her community sews. And I love the fact that she could learn some tips here that can help her with her alteration journey. I am one of those people who will continue to give you freely until the last day I have an opportunity to do so, which will be December 2023. I would stop teaching because all of the syllabuses will be completed, and hopefully I would have teachers teaching by the end of the year 2024. Or the School for Alteration Made Easy should be able to go online, and the next generation of alteration providers would be able to go online and log on there and learn how to do basic alterations. Look, I'm just closing this hole to the bottom of the jacket that I had to make to put my hands through. The reason why I have to close it like this is because I can't close it through the collar because the collar is closed already. Remember, alterations looks at the jacket from the finish, we open it up, and then we close it back up again. Tailoring, sewing a dress, you start on one side and you go all the way to the end and you finish. Alterations takes it to the end, finishes it, then rips it apart, and then puts it back together again. That's why alterations is a specific art that it takes a lot of years to learn. I'm going to attempt to give you all of the basic information that you need. We'll prove my friend Benita Sidden wrong, and all of you guys are going to learn how to do basic alterations from me. This stitch is called a felon stitch that I just put there. It's a basic stitch. Notice I put the line in there, but this is going to come back down like this and hide it. So it's up under there. I'm going to put some more black thread on my needle. Now we're really done. Oh my goodness, this was amazing. I'm glad that I was able to get you guys to stay with me. Alterations Made Easy will teach you how to do basic alterations. And if you could learn how to do basic alterations for yourself, you will be able to save money hemming a pants, shortening a sleeve on a jacket, tapering a pants, doing the waist and the seat. The tailors charge you on a pants to taper the waist, sometimes $35, $40. I heard that you could get a pants hem for $20 in some places. Some places you get $15. But the average alteration cost on a hem for a pants, it's $15 nationwide. We did a survey that actually told us that. Can you do me a favor right now? Can you tell me the price of how to hem a pants? How much money you paid the last time you had a pants hem? Can you guys help me with that question? On this stitch, I'm picking up just a little piece from the bottom. And I'm taking my needle and I'm putting in all the extra loose threads into the seam. Nobody will never know it's inside of there. We just hit it, and you didn't have to stop to cut it. You just tuck it in. I have my hands under here because I'm touching the front side of the fabric, feeling for the needle head and making sure that the needle head doesn't come through. The wind outside is honking, guys. It's howling. If the train gets off the track, I heard someone jumped off of the train in Parkchester today. There you go. Okay, let's go see what's happening. Okay, let's see some questions here. Any longer and the thread will tangle up every time. Yep. The creator, okay, and thank you. Sort of advice at the beginning. I needed it. Let's see. Sewing, you can use extra strong thread, but the wax doesn't come on spool. I have the wax thread, you know, guys, but when I'm working on certain pieces, look, this is the thread. See this? That's that wax thread. See? Okay, I'm going to put it on a mannequin now, and we're going to have a look at it for context. I think, no, she's about a size 8. I have a size 8 mannequin here. We're going to put it on the mannequin. We're going to give it a little press, and then we're going to pop it on the mannequin and see how it looks. Okay? Let me give it a little press. Bringing in the big boy. I'm going to press the chest darts under the arms, press the sides, try to make the jacket look as pretty as possible. And whilst I'm stitching, I'm checking to see if there's any faults. Yes, I'm checking. Who's your quality control manager? You are. What do I always say? Neatness and accuracy first. Neatness and accuracy first. All that hustle and all that speed, it comes naturally when you're neat and you're accurate first. Whee! I can't wait to get my vacuum board back in operation. I was going to put it right there on the ground, but there's not enough space in here. I'm just blowing the jacket. Press the sleeve. Then I press the opposite side. Little dust. Okay, let's see. Let's put it on the mannequin here. Ho, 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 ho. I'm gonna have to have like a phone stopper on every corner inside of this place. So. Nope, it doesn't look good on this mannequin. It's too small. But the 18 is too big, and I don't have a 12. But I think it will just look better here to show you guys. So I want to set it up how it looks on her. This mannequin is a little bit too tight, but it's what we have, so that's what we're going to use. That's the style right there. I want to show you guys how nice this jacket looks. It has a little gather in the waist. created a better look. Let me show you guys. So adding the chest dart created a better shape through the side there on the jacket. So before, she had a ton of extra fabric here. We tapered the sleeves. We shortened the length of the sleeves. The back of the jacket is transparent, it's very see-through. Little tie, I changed the position of the tie because it was too low originally. If you remember, the tie was all the way down here. For some odd reason, the manufacturer took it from this side and put it all the way down here. So I lifted it up a little bit, reset the buttons to give it a little bit more room so it will close. This mannequin is a little bit too big, so that's why it's pulling like this. But on her, it will fit perfect. I need to press that out. And that's it. That's how you do alterations on a jacket. We tapered the sleeves, we added the vent, we did the chest darts, we reset the darts with 15,000 likes. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for joining me so long. I really appreciate this time with you people. If you like my page, you could follow me. Hey, Auntie, welcome back. I'm just about hanging up right about now. What a beautiful class we had today with so many really nice people joining in on the conversation. Please like my page, share my videos. Tell people that there's a guy out there who's teaching you actually how to do the alterations the real way, the hard way. He is a no-stop kind of guy, but he will take his time and you would learn. This jacket looks good. It's going to be nice and cheap. You see the shape here? See that? Before, there was only fabric here. Now there's a nice shape through the hips. That's what doing the chest dart does on the jacket. It gives it that nice slender look. Look how smooth she's going to look. Thank you very much, guys.